Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to I guess we're getting, now that we changed the date, we're kind of in the late middle of week 6. Who knows anymore? Who knows what the date is, where we are, what's happening? I want to talk to you about a few things this week. And some of them are composition ideas or English 131 ideas, but largely it's just taking care of the business of the course because we're kind of in the middle of just producing work and responding to work. But one of the things I want to talk about is the problems that I've seen with writing number 1 and what we're going to do next week because of it. I started grading number 1 this past week. Started responding to papers, and I don't know, in the first 10 papers that I saw, a good 8 of them were not really on the assignment. They weren't responding to that assignment prompt I gave you. They were way off base. And so the assignment prompt was fairly straightforward. I wanted you to think about a time where you had written in protest or written in conflict, some moment of writing where you were using some kind of friction with your audience. I wanted you to think about that time and then to analyze the experience, and then to talk about writing in conflict, writing in protest, writing the act of protest, and how you use your thinking to engage in that act. So what I saw was some people writing about abortion, or some people writing about things that they disagreed with, or some people writing about others' protests. So what I saw was people reproducing, I am guessing, reproducing some work that they had done in high school as a argumentative paper, and just putting it into the 131 paper without very much revision at all to address the issue of the assignment. I'm a little concerned with the things that I saw in 130 in the writing number 1 papers. There was a lot that was kind of going way off track. And the reason why that concerns me is I wondered, was my assignment not clear? And I know it's clear because I've taught it before. Was the submission or the first couple of weeks so overwhelming that you just couldn't understand what you were trying to do? Was the workshop that bad that you didn't really pay attention to each other that much? I got some concerns. So I've decided next week we're going to have conferences, and many of you have already seen this. Many of you have already scheduled your conference. This isn't everybody. I don't want you to think that I'm talking about everybody here, but there was enough there to concern me about how people are responding to the work of the class. So we're going to have a conference. We're going to talk about your paper. We're going to talk about your performance in the class, what's happening with you, what you're getting out of it or what you're not getting out of it. I'm not saying at this point that that you've messed up in the course and it's over for you. That I don't want you to think that at all. I want you to get through this course, and I want you to be successful in this course. But you've got to do the work that the course is asking you to do. This concern is being continued in writing number 2. I've looked at many of the articles that you guys have posted, or many of what you've talked about with the work that you're doing for writing number 2, and I'm equally concerned about how that paper is going to go. Some people are not writing on a news article. Some people are not writing on something that actually happened in the past or more in recent history. I saw somebody writing on an encyclopedia entry. I have to ask, are you reading the assignment? Are you considering how this course is designed around specific ideas and that you need to respond to those ideas? I want you to go back, because the workshop copy is due in a couple days. I want you to go back and look at that assignment. Make sure you know what that assignment is asking you to produce. Make sure you know what it means to write in response. And then you have to think about what a public letter is, what it means to write a public letter, and how you do it. You had some readings on it. We've talked about it a great deal. Make sure you know what you're supposed to be producing here before you submit it to the workshop. Let's talk a little bit about writing number 3. And then we'll tie this into the larger purpose of this course and what's going on here. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're looking at writing number 3. Now, you may say, well, I'm just finishing writing number 2. Why am I already getting the 3rd writing assignment? I understand that. And frankly, many of you are probably going to have to go back and work on writing number 1 some more. And so it's a lot of stuff piling up. It's hard. I understand that. One of the things that's going on here, though, is that we need to think about the work that you're producing and how you're working on college level work through the intense pressure of a semester. And I'm not trying to put pressure on you. I think the work that I've given you has been very evenly spaced out. You've had plenty of time for this. I think part of the problem is you have not spaced it out for yourself, that you have, that many people have crammed it so that it feels very stressful right now. If you look at this assignment, it's not due until October 27th for the workshop draft. And then we'll be workshopping it the following week. And then the revised draft is due November 9th. That's taking us pretty far into the semester. We're getting there. We're getting through the semester. So the work is here to help you guide yourself through the semester so that you can learn something. And this one's going to seem a little bit maybe redundant to you with this assignment. I want to show it to you. I want to talk about it so that we can see why it's not redundant and why it's important to do an assignment like this. Writing number 3, creating meaning alongside another's meaning, summary and response. The assignment: find an editorial written about a protest that occurred this year and write a response to that editorial. Sounds a lot like our writing number 2, where you had to write on a news story about a protest and write an open letter in response to that news story. Sounds similar, and maybe structurally it's a little bit similar, but there's some different things going on here. First, in writing number 2, you were writing about a news story and you were writing about protest within that news story. That in writing number 2, you were writing a public letter that is addressed to a public figure, but to a larger audience. Here, you are finding an editorial and you're about a protest, and then you're writing in response to the editorial. You're essentially creating your own commentary on somebody else's commentary. It's a rhetorically different assignment. Why would you do this? Well, because college writing is about responding and creating texts. And you have to be able to understand the knowledge that came before you and the way that you create knowledge through your own work. And while writing number 2 was writing about a public letter to create some kind of public knowledge, here I want you engaging deeply with responding to somebody else and responding to their ideas. What is this assignment requiring? Your editorial must come from a professional newspaper or news site. It must be an editorial, and it must be substantial enough to produce a meaningful response. It can't simply be one paragraph that has a very broad idea or a couple sentences of commentary. It has to be substantial so that you can have an argument you can reply to. Your response must be at least 3 pages long. Your response must use careful summary, paraphrasing, and quotation as you write about the original editorial. And we'll have some stuff to work with that. And this is just basic academic skill stuff. I want to make sure you know how to do summary. I want to make sure you know the difference between summary and paraphrasing. I want to know that you can do a quotation. Number 4, your response must develop into an essay of its own. When a reader gets done with your essay, they must care more about what you said than what the original writer said. The idea here is that you are creating your own text, but you're creating it in response to somebody else's, and your text is primary. And also the idea here is that you kind of know what an essay is, how it functions, how to establish a point and prove a point, which goes to the next one, number 5. Your response should pay attention to what an audience needs in an essay. You should attempt to establish precise points, use solid evidence, develop meaningful explanations, all with clear writing and intentional organization. So I want to see that you can do this academic essay idea, and I want to see that you can create meaning out of it. Your essay should show effort that is appropriate to a college writing course. And I have to put that in there, I think, because at this point, I'm not sure that all the effort is there that needs to be there. And you must include a works cited page. So there's some basic academic stuff going on in this assignment. And in fact, what this next part says relates to that. This writing assignment may sound like a normal everyday writing assignment. Find something to read and respond to it using summary skills. You've probably done this many, many times over the years, and you've probably done it in junior high and high school where you had to find something and you had to write about it. But I'm asking for something a bit more. It sounds similar to that previous stuff, but it's something a bit more. You cannot simply write a thoughtless response to a general reading. You must write a clear, specific argument that has been developed as an equal contribution to the discussion your editorial began. The assignment's asking you to pay attention to some following skills: analytical and critical reading, using a source as a counterforce, developing a persuasive argument, finding and establishing your voice, and writing with meaning. This is a college assignment. And this takes us to what one of the major ideas I want you to get out of this mini lecture, out of the course itself. The course is called Introduction to College Writing. And that phrase, college writing, is something that happens in a college, but really it's about a professional, developed, mature voice that you are creating as you're here in college, where you can learn how to make your voice substantial and meaningful in the world. And this is the introduction to that. So the work we're doing is helping you to learn how to do that. And think about it. The first one, write about a personal experience, make it meaningful. Second one, write an open letter talking about an issue. The third one, write in response to another writer. This is a sequence that is helping you develop a sense of your own voice, your own power, your own ability to create in the world. But in order for that to happen, you have to pay attention to the requirements, and you have to put the effort in to allow your voice to develop. Now, your voice is going to develop no matter what. What I want you thinking about is, who are you as a writer, and how can you help that voice develop in a more refined, professional form? We're going to get there. I know it's stressful. I know there's a lot coming out at you, but it's my job to try to help you get there. I can only help you so far as you're willing to be helped. So we're going to talk about that next week in our conference. You're going to start your second workshop next week, and we're going to keep on moving forward with your voice, this course, and what it means to be a college writer. I will see you next week. Have a great weekend.